Soulful shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, just some soulful shit for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made this be myself, so hear me. Woo! I mean, like, we can put all that clown shit away. There's some real shit for you. I'm spazzing right now, so listen, let's go. Yeah. It's in their bones, the thugs in harmony for the love of the money. Then fall victim for the cookie, then turn pussy, it's lonely. You said you hold it down when life get rough, we're here now, so show me. We move them losses to them wins. Heavy pounds, we make it ends meet. Converse with only few who make me feel like I be 10 feet.
What's happening, people? We are back in the building and we're back with another tactical analysis, and today we're going to be taking a look at a player that we've spoken about before over on my player watchers, but he's definitely a player that he divides opinion. A lot of us are asking the question as to why has nobody signed this player? Who knows, he could be on the move in the summer, so we'd have to wait and see. Supremely talented, can use both feet, is an absolute wizard on the ball, and that is Rayan Cherki. I think one of the most obvious things, about Rayan Cherki is that, of course, we're watching a player who technically is absolutely amazing. I don't know many footballers in today's game, and I'm talking about in general, who are better, technically with the ball, at their feet. When it comes to 1v1s, he's really, really good, close ball control, etc., etc. But there's obviously a reason, and we want to find out, and we kind of want to know as to why is it top clubs are not really looking at a Rayan Cherki and pulling the trigger when it comes to signing him, because on the face of it you would think, oh my goodness, here's a player who is supremely talented on the ball. He can play, of course, in that kind of number 10 position, so you would think, okay, this must be someone that teams would want to invest their money in, but for some reason it's just not really worked out that way. And usually you'd think by now he would have made potentially that move to that bigger club, and then from there we can see exactly how good he can possibly be. When you take a look at his heat map, for example, right, he's someone who we know he can play in that number 10, but he can also play on the wing, so usually on that right hand side, because he is predominantly left-footed, so he does want to cut in onto his left foot, but he can then shift out to that right hand side. And I think when we're looking at it, even on the heat map itself, you can see he's not a touch line winger. He's not someone who's going to stay out wide and then play a typical A winger kind of role. He is someone who wants to go from out to in and get himself as close as possible. And to be honest, I do actually feel that it's because he feels a lot more freer playing in that number 10 role, to be honest with you. He wants to drift into those kind of half spaces when he is on that right hand side. He also does the same thing when he's on the left hand side as well. You see it quite a lot. Again, for most people who are left footed, as an example, who are right footed, playing on their actual side, in terms of left footed playing on the left, right footed playing on the right, they usually don't tend to actually come in the middle. But this, as you can see with the heat map, that's something that he does quite a lot. Why? Because he wants to operate in those spaces. He wants to operate in those kind of areas in that final third, which then enables him to do the most damage. Now, Cherki, again, when he's in these kind of, areas, when a defender starts to overcommit, to defending the inside or kind of option, or, Cherki's able to open up the space on the outside, he will use body feints, and, he tries to use like ball manipulations, and you can see it with all of the kind of dribbles that he's, that he is doing. He uses this kind of like a quick, short kind of diagonal touch, to create space, outside of the defender, and then that's when he can drive with the ball, with power across goal with his right foot, before defenders are even able to, react or, recover to kind of block, that kind of pass. And I think this is why I look at him as someone who would be a lot more comfortable, in my opinion, playing as a number 10, but also playing as a number 10 genuinely with a free role. Reason being is, for me, we kind of live in a day and age where a lot of people, rate, and fans, managers, as you can tell, they rate, out of possession. Are you a good presser? Have you got that kind of work rate? I'm not actually going to say that he is completely lazy. He's got, kind of like it's almost like 𝐒𝐔𝐁𝐒 like, in terms of you're not necessarily relying on them out of possession, so to speak. So there probably will be that air of feeling like you are playing with 10 men, out of possession, or 9 men on the pitch, on the outfield pitch itself, taking away the goalkeeper. But he's not completely, null void, to be honest with you. He's not really someone who's that intense. He's not that competitive when it does come to duels or aerial duels and things like that. And I think that's where potentially, and again, this is all guesswork, that's probably why, top managers might not, might look at that and think, what, I need my number 10 as an example to kind of put in, that kind of effort at the bare minimum. Hence why I say you have to have him in a team without that kind of defensive responsibility. That's why, again, that's probably for me one of the main reasons as to why top clubs probably wouldn't go in for him. But I can see someone, potentially taking a punt, on a player like that, because his attacking ability, I'll be honest, there's not many players in world football, in my opinion, who are better than him in, the attacking sense, in terms of ball manipulation, in terms of ball control, in terms of, spatial awareness, under pressure, in and around the box. You can see here, yeah, this guy, it's going to be almost impossible to get the ball, off of someone like him. He scans around quite a lot to understand, what's kind of going on, in and around him. He understands exactly what it is he needs to do in certain situations, and usually he makes the right decisions. He's not really a player that I would get frustrated with in these kind of areas, because he understands. But again, it just depends on what you as a fan and as a manager are looking for. Can you see your team, putting in the money for him? Potentially, this summer I think is going to be an interesting one, especially with everything that's kind of going on with Lyon, at this kind of, current moment in time. But we are talking about a supreme talent at the end of the day. And I think it's just really, if you don't mind the cons with a player like this, or you feel that the cons can be, improved upon throughout, working with a certain manager and understanding, as he gets older, more experience in the game, etc., etc. If managers feel that, this is really going to be a player who can be exactly what it is that they're looking for, then I think, he could easily go to one of the top clubs. I really don't think that will ever be a problem for him. Again, it just really depends on the system. And I think he can only thrive at this moment in time anyway, in a system where he has a complete free role. And I'll be honest, it almost has to feel Messi-like, where you're not really dependent on him in defensive transitions, and you'll understand that you're going to need to have workers in and around him. But I promise you, in that attacking third, and especially, closer to the goal, zone 14, as they like to call it these days, I think you will have an absolute baller of a player. And I think it just depends on if a manager can just weigh up those pros and cons in itself and then decide, this is the way to go. But I just don't think many top clubs would look at that and say yes. But listen, it could be a shock this summer. We just have to wait and see, when it does come to Rayan Cherki, and hopefully for his sake, he can make that big move, because I do think that he has reached the stage where either you're going to just stay at Lyon, becoming a legend over there, or you are going to kind of make that jump, to the kind of next club. And then from there, we can obviously see, what's going on. But let me know your thoughts, people. Let me know your thoughts. If you're one of those fans who would love to, see your club sign a Rayan Cherki, tell me why. Tell me why you think he can operate in your manager's system. Tell me why you don't think he can operate in your manager's system. And also as well, let me know in the comment section, people, which club do you actually think, without being biased and, wanting him to play for your own club, which club do you actually think is the best move, for him in football? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, people, and I'll catch you later. Peace.